there, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kristin, and today I'm going to share my March budget with you. Thank you so much for watching today. If you are new to my channel, I make a video like this every single month, and I do this to try and help those of you out there that may be having a difficult time learning how to budget or getting in the groove of being able to stick to your budget, or even those of you that are struggling to budget on a consistent basis. So we are going to go hop onto my computer and check out what's going on for March. Okay, so this is my March budget. And if you have seen these videos before, then you know I always start off with estimating my husband's income, since we never quite know what exactly he is getting paid. It's always a bit of a surprise. He has been trying to do some overtime because we do have a vacation coming up. So I'm going to estimate both of his paychecks this month at $2,200 each. And then I know I have about $250 that will be coming in from my business that I will be taking from my business this month. So that's going to be our income for the month. Now we're going to go down through the expenses. Mortgage, always $715. I take out the first half and the second half of the month. Natural gas, electricity, water and sewer, internet, cable, and cell phone. I keep all of these amounts from the month prior. Now, when the bills come in for March, I will update those, but I always use the month prior as a good estimate. You can see natural gas is $122.67 from the second half of the month. Electricity is just about $90 from the second half of the month. Water and sewer is just about $160 from the second half of the month. And in the first half of the month, we have internet and cable for $126.65, cell phone for $197.93, and then we take $30 in the first half of the month and put that into our savings account for our trash bill, which is billed on a quarterly basis. This needs to be updated. This is what we're going to take out for our house maintenance envelope. And again, for house maintenance is pretty much anything that we maybe purchase for home decor or plants or outside plants or landscaping or any issues with the home that we need to get fixed, small issues. If it was a really big issue, we would probably default to our emergency fund. So we're going to take $25 in both halves of the month for house maintenance. Then we have gas for our cars. We do $75 in the first half of the month, $75 in the second half of the month, $25 first and second half of the month for our vehicle maintenance cash envelope. Groceries, we take a total of $450 for the month, and we split that between the first and the second pay. Restaurants, we take $30 in the first half of the month and $30 in the second half of the month, and that just goes in our cash envelopes. Sam's Club, we take $30 in the first half of the month and $30 in the second half of the month for our cash envelopes for anything that we need to get from Sam's Club. Sports and activity fees, these were high last month because we had to pay for my son's lacrosse. Now, that's all taken care of. I think I'm going to go ahead and put those both to zero because as far as I'm aware, we don't have any more fees coming up this month. Kid commission, we have some money in that envelope. So I'm going to just switch that to $5 in the first half of the month, $5 in the second half. And the kid stuff envelope is completely done. My daughter did go to New York to see Hamilton last week. And then she also had a trip to the mall with her friends, so I gave her some money from that envelope for that trip. $25 in each half of the month we will put back in the kid stuff envelope. As always, we skip over this cash envelope section because we're talking about each cash envelope as we go through the expenses. So we're going to come up here to charity. This is going to remain the same, $150 to our church in the first half of the month, $29 to World Vision in the first half of the month, and spontaneous giving always just stays at zero. We just leave it at zero. If something comes up that we feel we want to give to, we give to, and we work it out later. Now, emergency fund. I do have an update for you on our emergency fund, but for now that's going to be empty because we don't normally schedule in advance our emergency fund contributions. We kind of do that at the end of the month with whatever we have left. My IRA is still at zero because I did not set up my new one yet. Stash, that is just a maintenance fee I pay, $1 a month. Sinking funds, we're not doing those at the moment. Auto insurance and life insurance all go into our savings account. I just paid our auto insurance at the very end of last month. So what I did was take the full amount from our savings account, transfer it to our checking account, and then pay the bill. And we pay that on a bi-yearly basis. So now we're starting to save for the next 6 months, and that bill will come sometime, I think, at the end of the summer. So that way I'll have the entire amount sitting in our savings account so we can pay that bill again when it comes due. Our life insurance for myself and my husband both are taken out automatically from our savings account, and our pet insurance is debited automatically from our Chase credit card. Pet food, our dogs may need pet food in the second half of the month. I'm not sure. Vet care, I'm going to do 20 and 20. One of my pups went to the vet for their well visit last week, and my second pup is going this week. So going to keep contributing to that envelope so that we have some money in there to pay for those. Our cat litter is delivered once a month for $23. We're back to our normal personal money amounts. If you saw my video last month, then you know what happened with my husband's personal money, but we're back to normal. So he takes $65 and I take $60 in the first half of the month. His gym comes out for just about $10 in the second half of the month. We are going to put $50 and $50 both halves of the month for gifts. $10 in the first and second half for lunch money. These are all cash envelopes again. And we're going to go with $40 and $40 in the first and the second half for doctor and medications. That's to cover our prescriptions and any copays or anything else, like any kind of over-the-counter medication, anything like that, we take out of that envelope. Toiletries, I put $10 in our cash envelope in the first and second half of the month. Spotify comes out. That's the rest of my husband's personal money, covers Spotify in the beginning of the month. We take $70 and $70 for spend in each half of the month. And haircuts, my son needs a haircut, my husband will need, we all need them soon. So 20 and 20. First and second half of the month for haircuts. And date night, we will take $80 again out of the money that I take from my business, and we'll put that towards a date night for March. And then we're probably going to take $200 and $200 for our vacation. Now I have a couple other things I need to add in there. My son's church camp that he is going to, we are paying $30 a month. That's not any interest or anything like that. They just allowed us to break it up over a couple months instead of paying it all, since it comes due right after Christmas. So we're going to pay $30 for the next couple months for that. We have our pool dues coming up. So pool membership is going to be $265. The pool membership is due on May 1st. And if we miss that May 1st deadline, we will have to pay more. So that gives us about 4 paychecks to save for that. And we will just put $65 a pay in here. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to change that. I think I'm going to save $133 from the second half of the month, since the first half of the month we take our personal money out. That'll help balance that out a little bit. So our pool membership, I'm going to save $133 the second half of this month, and I will plan on doing the same thing in April, which will give us the full amount to pay by May 1st. Now the other thing is we have a one night away. My husband and I are just taking a quick little getaway sometime in April, and we have already saved all the money for that we're going to need. The only thing else that we should need is a hotel, and I have a whole bunch of credit card points accrued, so I plan on just booking our hotel with the credit cards so we don't have to use any extra money. So I'm not even going to include that in this month's budget at all. Okay, and then here where it says transfer to savings bills, $230, this is simply the reminder for myself to transfer this money, which includes all of those fees we talked about up here, the life insurances and the trash and the auto insurance. That is what I transfer each month to save for those. So this is simply a reminder for myself. I'll check this box when I make sure it's done. Here's what I want to talk to you guys about. We tried to adjust my husband's taxes that are taken out of his paycheck so that we would get no tax refund this year. It was kind of a test year because my business started making a little bit more money and he got a raise and we adjusted it all. Even though we tried to come out even, we still ended up with a tax refund. I'm not gonna lie, I'm excited because we are taking the entire thing and putting it in our emergency fund. So I wanna show you, I already put in $2,000 at the very end of February. This was actually money I took from my business because I didn't need the money that I had set aside for taxes since we had a refund due. Now, I don't expect this to happen next year, but I'm excited that it happened this year because we're really getting close to finishing our emergency fund now. So here's my update. At the very end of February, I put $2,000 in there from my business. So now we have a current balance of $9,010. And now we plan to put another $3,000, which is coming from our tax refund, which will put us just over $12,000 in our emergency fund. And you may or may not know this, but we have a goal of $15,000 before we start moving on to the next step in our financial plan. We will consider our emergency fund tentatively complete once we hit $15,000. However, we will continue to put in money here and there because we would feel really comfortable with it at a solid $20,000. So we will continue to save in that emergency fund for however long it takes us to get to $20,000. But once we hit 15, we are going to start working on some other savings goals as well. So I will have a video explaining all of it whenever we reach that goal. I'm so excited. I'm crossing my fingers that nothing happens and we don't need to use that money and we can hopefully finish baby step 3 by the time summer gets here. Okay, cross your fingers for me. The next thing I want to just touch on quickly is the cash envelopes. Now, if you have seen my budget videos before, then you know all of these amounts here we already discussed in all of the expenses throughout the rest of the sheet. The one thing I do have to mention is we keep a 2 deposit envelope, and what that does is it holds all of the money for anything that we purchase online using our credit card. And when we purchase something online, we take the cash from that specific cash envelope and we put it in our 2 deposit envelope. Now, if it gets to be a lot of money, I'm not comfortable keeping a lot of cash on my person or in my home. So if it gets to be a high amount, I will actually take it and go deposit it into the bank. But if it just stays a relatively small amount, I will just hang on to it and count it when it's time to take money out to fill our envelopes. And I will just use that as envelope filling money. So I will count what's in our envelope and we'll put that here. So currently it's telling me I'm going to need $485 in cash to stuff all of our envelopes in the first half of the month. So let's just say there's $90 in my 2 deposit envelope. I'm going to count that. I'm going to see that it's $90. So I'm going to enter that here. And that's going to subtract that $90 and show me that since I already have $90 on hand, I only need to take out $395 from the bank. So it's essentially replacing that money into our bank account that we are going to have to take out to pay off our credit card. So I hope that makes sense. I know it can get like a little confusing sometimes. I hope that makes sense. If you guys have any questions about that all, please go ahead and leave them in the comments because I want these videos to be helpful for you in your budgeting journey. I don't want you to watch them and come away from my videos feeling even more confused than you were when you clicked on it. So please don't hesitate to ask me any questions. I love connecting with you guys in the comment section. Let me know if you have any questions. All we have to do here is cover the totals and we're done. All right, so this is kind of showing us in a negative. I go over this every single month. I estimate low always for my husband's paychecks because I do not want to allocate that money somewhere, have his paycheck come in lower than I thought, and now I committed to spending money or putting money in different budget areas and now I don't have enough money to satisfy that. So essentially I'd have to come back and rearrange my whole budget. What I found works best for us is if I assume his income is going to be lower. So I estimate it always on the lower side. It almost always comes in higher, sometimes just a couple dollars higher, sometimes substantially higher depending on how he works. Usually at the end of my budget videos, it's showing me with a negative balance. So let me show you what I mean. The first half of the month, it's showing an estimated income of $2,450, and that's coming from over here, $2,200 plus $250, and it's showing expenses for the first half of the month of $2,595.67, which is showing that I spent too much money. It's showing that it's negative. With almost certainty, I can tell you this will probably even out. I probably won't have anything extra in the first half of the month, but this will likely even out. And if it does not, what I will do is I will put a little bit less money into certain cash envelopes. I will probably decrease the amount I put in gifts. I will probably decrease the amount I put in Sam's Club, different things like that to make up that difference. And when I do have a difference, it's usually pretty small. I've gotten pretty good at estimating his pays at this point. So you can see here then if we're following the same logic, the income, the expenses, and the difference for the second half of the month is showing we actually are $51 to the good. If we do really have $51 extra, we follow a zero-based budget, which means we give every dollar a name, a job, an assignment, however you want to say it. But if we really do have $51 extra, I will do one of two things with that. I will either just leave it in our checking account as a buffer, because I did take my checking account down pretty low this month, and I've been liking to leave maybe around like a $200 buffer lately. So I will probably either leave it in there as a buffer, or I will allocate it to the money we're putting aside for vacation. I'll do one of those two, and that's how I take care of any surplus we have. And essentially that brings our budget down to zero. All right, so that was my March budget. And like I said, I hope it all makes sense for you guys. If you found this video helpful in any way, I would really appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. And I would love if you would subscribe while you're here. I make videos all about living frugally, saving money, getting out of debt, and I would love to have you as part of my little family here on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching today. I really appreciate you. I hope you have a great day. Bye.